idea that you would get the guy who played William Hartnell to then play the first Doctor, how long ago did you start crafting that?
The New York Comic Con. This moment must be on video because somebody asked about the choice of Doctors and Day of the Doctor, and I said, well, obviously the Doctor you'd want to come and meet, the modern Doctor, is William Hartnell, but he won't return my calls.
Right.
And Peter said, well, we could just get David Bradley. So I presume on video I'm going, oh yeah. And we did. And I have to say, his recreation of William Hartnell is absolutely extraordinary. There are moments, you put it in black and white, you could fool people. And it gives it such twinkle, such grace. And because of his background knowledge, or his considerable knowledge from Mark's wonderful movie, he just captures what the first Doctor was really like. Not the crotchety old man of legend, but a much twinklier, funnier, more engaging man than that.
Right. Pearl, I think people are very excited to see you.
I'm very excited too, to be honest. Oh, thank you.
Did you feel it right away when you first came into the show? Did you understand the fandom, and did you feel the swell that was happening?
Well, I think when I was announced, it was pretty epic. You know, the response was large, but by no means does it compare to the amount of people that are sitting in front of me. Yeah, it's amazing. So no, I think the short answer is I don't think I was prepared for how powerful the Doctor Who fandom is. I think it's such an incredible thing, and it's such a gift to be able to be part of this family. It's wicked. Thanks for having me.
You may have already confirmed or denied this in the press, but you're not coming back after the Christmas special, you are?
No, that's it. After that, yeah, Christmas special, last chance to see Bill. But I mean, hey, it's Doctor Who, so never say never.
So just a little bit, can you talk a little bit about who Bill was to you, and what did you learn about her throughout the process? Was she different by the time you came out the other end of it, in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, she was a saga man.
Not quite though, I mean, she does get rescued in a beautifully romantic, which by the way, the girl with the star, I haven't figured out, is that still the girl, or is it the pilot? Like, or is there traces of her in there still?
Well, it's still her. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's retained her personality, but she's transformed, as people sometimes do, an all-powerful alien entity who can rescue you romantically in your hour of darkest need. And don't we all need that?
Absolutely. We do. Someone with a star eye rising out of a puddle to say, "I will take you," and then go off. So, what did you? What was special to you about Bill, and what are you going to miss the most?
I think what was really special to me about Bill was that she's so real. I think she feels very. There's so many different elements to her. You know, she's very quick-witted and she's very inquisitive. But someone put it quite well today during one of our roundtable interviews. You know, there's sort of like childlike curiosity to her as well, which I think is great because I mean, who wants to grow up? And I think that's one of the things that I really like about her. You know, there's a lot of. She's very strong-minded, and she really believes in what she does, and I think she does everything quite deliberately. But then, you know, accidentally she'll sort of wander off and get nearly dragged into a puddle.
And I emailed Matt Lucas last week just to say that I think Nardole is a triumph. I love him.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Earth is one of my favourite planets.
I mean, for you, you know, I assume that you were probably, I've always been a huge Doctor Who fan.
Yeah, I mean, growing up I was a fan, and then when I was about 13, they stopped making it for about 1 million years, which was a bit inconvenient. But yeah, it's a pinch yourself moment when you get asked to be in the show. So every single day I walked on set, I felt very, very lucky to be there.
Who was he in the beginning, and where did he come out at the end? What do you think his narrative arc was?
Well, I think the Christmas specials have a slightly different identity to the regular series, in that they're a bit lighter and older, because people in Britain on Christmas Day eat turkey, and there's an enzyme in turkey that makes you fall asleep. So the Christmas special has to keep you awake. So Nardole was very broad, I think, at the beginning, and I just thought, excuse me, oh, I'm just doing a cameo in Doctor Who, what a treat. But across the series, I realised that from a performance point of view, I had to try and find a bit more nuance and texture in there. But also, there was more time and space to develop that in terms of the writing as well. So, yeah, it was good to try and develop different sides of the character. Yeah, and that's my answer.
There could be this is an evil character, but she's not. She really seems like she wants to do good. She's really struggling against her own nature. Did you feel that with her?
Oh, absolutely. It's that tug of war, of shall I do something good or shall I do something bad? Obviously, I'll do something bad. It's just the pull to darkness is too strong. And but what was fun was to sort of toy with the idea of being good. And also I think to get away from that two-dimensional character that she could have been, it could have been black and white, is to sort of sit in that area, in that kind of grey area of emotionality, where it was interesting to possibly try on good for a minute and see how that feels. And it was really hard, actually, when you're looking into face like Peter Capaldi's with those great big blue watery grey eyes and just want to kind of be his friend, and then obviously not. It was difficult. It was he presented me with a challenge. He really did, because it's hard to act with this man and not want to be your best self.
Also really fun to see John Sim come back too.
I have to say, if I'm going to love myself, it was very nice to get a chance to love John Sim.
Yeah, but Missy shuts him down. Like, he goes for it.
Yeah, she does. She crushed him like a bug. Yeah, no, it was all very wrong, Stephen. There was something very wrong about all of that, indeed. But yes, it was an acting challenge that I hope we will.
You wanted to do it with a beard, I think.
I did it with a beard.
How do you think she's handling dealing? Because everyone would love the opportunity to look at their younger self and say, "Stop being an idiot," because he's obviously very singularly focused, and she's much more grown up and complicated by this point. So, what is it that you think she is really wanting to convey to him in the last moments, where they essentially stab each other in the back?
It's interesting that they kill each other. Somebody suggested it might have been suicide. That's a little dark. I think it's just that you've just got to stay open to whatever is put in front of you and stay flexible, and that would be it. So she was just basically telling John Sim to do some yoga.
It has that kind of melancholy to it, but it's been a fantastic season. I think it was a joy to do my Ice Warriors episode and be part of this great new feel for it all. I think it's Christmas is a terrific episode. I'm very privileged to be in and to be there for Peter's exit with Peter and David and Pearl. We've had a great time doing it, and it's a lovely way out. And it's a very Christmassy episode without being sort of on the nose Christmassy. It's sort of happy, sad. It's got all those things that Christmas brings up in you. It's a lovely exit. We've had a great time doing it.
Thank you for this San Diego.
Smart water.
You're sensational too.
Oh, stop it! Come on. When you first started, was this experience anything like you had predicted? I know that you were a fan of the show. We've talked about that many times before, but when you were describing the 12th Doctor as a fan, how would you describe him?
As a fan?
Yeah, as a fan.
I love him. He's my favorite doctor. He's certainly the most handsome. In my eyes. And he's got the biggest hair.
Yes.
His hair had the biggest arm. His arm had bigger, smaller, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. I think he's an alien. That's what my sort of ambition with him was, to make him not a human being, but whatever strange and mysterious creature the Doctor is. I don't know what kind of creature he is. He has a human sensibility about him, and we perceive him as a human, but I don't believe that's what he is. I think he's stranger and darker and cleverer. So I wanted to invest him in a sense of that. And also fun and clownishness and silliness and wittiness and all the rest of it. Stevenson writes all that.
So when you were a child and you were watching Doctor Who, and you probably thought, oh, it'd be really amazing to be the Doctor. Wow, what an amazing opportunity. What was something that you discovered having done this for the last few years? You're like, oh, I never knew it would be like this. Like, what's one thing, what's a piece of advice that you would give, practical advice for playing the Doctor to anyone who might do so?
Get a lot of sleep. Because you're going to be up early every day and be there all the time. Learn all your lines. And I never grew up thinking what it would be like to play the Doctor. I just thought the Doctor was the most amazing character that I could see. So I didn't, despite the publicity department's efforts to make everyone believe this, and that they were successful, I didn't spend my whole life grieving about the fact that I wasn't playing Doctor Who. I was just getting on with my life as an actor, but I loved the show and the character deeply. So it was a great thrill and surprise to find myself in it.
And you even just said, this is something that I wanted to ask Stephen about, there's a really nice nugget, specifically I feel like aimed at the fans in season 10, where they actually have the debate of, is he the Doctor or is he called Doctor Who? And a lot of people would think, oh, who's going to play Doctor Who? People go, it's the Doctor, that's not his name! But other people don't agree with that assessment. So do you have a final word on this either way, or do you think this is...
I defer to Mr. Chibnall, obviously. But if you take continuity seriously, and be honest, you all do, there isn't any doubt about this. I'm sorry. It was established in the War Machines that his name is Doctor Who.
All right, there it is.
He was called Doctor Who.
I'm
Sorry. And when people call out to you in the street, they don't say, hello, the Doctor. They say Doctor Who. He doesn't often call himself Doctor Who because it's a bloody stupid name. But that must be, he signs himself Dr. W. The third Doctor had a car with Who on the license plate. He is not a master of subtlety. In order to be mysterious, I'll call myself Doctor Who. However, if you prefer to believe that he calls himself the Doctor and that's just the name of the show, that's also equally true. Because what would Doctor Who continuity be without blatant and unresolvable contradictions?
What is your question, Rob Dalek?
My question goes to all of the cast. What was your favorite scene to record during season 10?
A particular scene that sticks out that you like, Peter?
The scene where I got to do Venusian Aikido. That was my most, because we studied that, Mark and I studied that very intently to make sure that we had a very accurate John Pertwee-esque noise and pose. And I hope he's looking down on us and smiling. We got it back.
Michelle, do you have a particular scene this season?
That scene, because I loved Oliver Lansley. We were talking about that early Smurf boy, the blue guy, and he was brilliant. And it was just a fun kind of ensemble day where we all really enjoyed each other immensely.
I can say I obviously really enjoyed working with everyone here, but my epic moment, which is in Oxygen, episode 5, I think it was episode 5, where Nardole runs round a corner and says, there's a rescue ship on the way. And I loved it because never does anyone with this face get to say a line like that inside. And that's for good reason. I am never, ever normally entrusted with a line of dialogue like that. So it was just lovely to go, there's a rescue ship on the way. So that was my favourite moment.
I mean, even like the jamming his hands in the snow, that one shot, and then he's fighting against regeneration and saying he's fighting against, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. He, even until the end, is a fighter.
Yeah. You know, it's you know, every day has its hardships. That's obviously it doesn't, because it's wonderful. But every day there's something difficult to. Often one of the difficult things to do on a regular basis is to look at a monster that's not quite as cosmic as you had hoped, and invest it with all the horror and terror that you had hoped after reading, when you read the script, that you thought the monster was going to be like. But in fact, all that does is make you respect the other Doctors more, because we do the show at a time when we have a lot of more money and a lot of technology, and most of our stuff looks amazing. And all of the previous Doctors have worked really with a lot of unconvincing latex, cardboard, and rice and porridge and stuff. And never for a second have they ever shown you anything other than utter commitment to that truth. So that's great acting. You know, it's really, really good acting when you've got one of your monsters.
Thank you very much. We have time for one more question. That is you. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Sylvia, and I met Michelle last year, and so you asked me to write a Misty spin-off, and I did. So I'm wondering if there's any possibility that could actually happen.
Oh, thank God, I'm going to work again. Sylvia, to see Parker Stephen at the end, please. And, what? I'm serious. Thank you.
Well, I'm really sorry. I'm very sad to say that this, you know, the Doctor says something really beautiful, and I apologize if I'm going to mess up the quote, but it was something akin to, it was in the Dr. Mysterio episode, I believe, and it was, everything ends, and that's awful, but everything begins again, and that's happy. So if I butcher that, I apologize, but that's the ultimate idea. It is very sad to see you go. I know whatever else all of you are going to do, these people will be here for you. And as a sincere fan, I just want to say thank you so much for the last few years, and thank you for what you've done for the last several years. Keep standing, because Carl wants to get a shot with us and all of you.